Hey everyone, I'm Matt with Ozark Overland Adventures, and today I want to talk about rooftop tents. Not specifically my rooftop tent, but just some general tips and tricks on how to get the most out of having a rooftop tent. I mean, we have rooftop tents because for our style of travel, they are just stupid convenient. In the tent is all of my bedding and a bunch of other stuff that just lives in my tent. It doesn't take up storage space inside. I don't have to pull everything out to set up a ground tent. I don't have to deal with all that stuff getting wet, going to and from if we're out in the rain. I mean, there's a lot of valid reasons to have a rooftop tent. There's also a lot of valid reasons not to, but that's not the point of this video. Let me walk you up there and show you everything that just stays in my tent, and then we're going to get into kind of the list of tips and tricks. All right, well, this is my tent. It is an Intrepid Geo 2.5. There's construction going on. I don't know if you can hear all the noise, hopefully not. But yeah, this is everything that lives in my tent. So I've got a down blanket, which we'll get into, my quilt, my fitted sheet, my top sheet, inflatable air mattress, my light, my air pump, my pee bottle. Yep, that's a thing. We'll get into that. Let's see, my super comfy pillow, my inflatable pillow, my tent chair, some wipes, some personal wipes, clean free body wipes. And then I'll show you what's in that one here in just a minute. But yeah, all of this stuff lives in my tent. So when I get to camp, whether it's a nice 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock at night and I'm exhausted and I'm tired, all I've got to do is open my tent, and I can even choose not to inflate the mattress if I don't want to, because it's actually not bad deflated. But I can be in my tent really, really fast. So, and that's the benefit of having a rooftop tent. But here's everything I've got and how it works. So I think the number one tip for any rooftop tent is to pull out the mattress that it comes with and replace it with an inflatable memory foam mattress. I mean, you can see how thin this one packs up. This is a new one I picked up at the More Expo from 4x4 Colorado. My iCamper mattress had a hole in it, and they had this one on hand, and was able to get this at the expo. It's not exactly made for this tent, but it works, and it's very, very comfortable. But yeah, these inflatable memory foam mattresses are the most comfortable mattresses I have ever slept on. It rivals my brand new home mattress. They don't take long to inflate. They may say self-inflating. They're not. They definitely need to be inflated, but it doesn't take long. But the inflatable memory foam mattress makes a huge difference in comfort level and things you can store up here. Because this thing packs down so small, I am able to store, just keep my fitted sheet on it, keep my flat sheet on it. I do use just a thin quilt. This all stuff just came from Walmart. I do use a thin quilt. I find that these are just as warm as a comforter, and they just pack down a lot thinner. So I just use a little thin quilt that I got from Walmart. Oh, and on sizes, let's see. This is a full size mattress up here, so I buy full size sheets. I buy a full size sheet set to fit over the mattress, but my quilt here is for a twin, because I don't need all the extra stuff hanging way over like on a real bed. So this is a twin size quilt that has plenty of extra space, because normally, a quilt would hang down almost to the floor on a twin size bed. And then I keep a down blanket up here, and this is from a company called Aeronaut. It's not cheap, but you can get down quilts or for down blankets for, good ones, a couple $100. This one was like a $500 blanket, but it's really good and it's really cozy and works really well. So this is my normal setup. When it gets warmer, I'll put the down blanket away. When it gets colder, I'll add a diesel heater, and this pretty much stays in here almost all the time. But yeah, all of this stuff can stay in here because of the inflatable mattress. Now, when it comes to mattresses, like I said, I've got this one from 4x4 Colorado. It's really specifically made for their tents because it's got some notches on the side. I don't necessarily recommend that unless you have a 4x4 Colorado tent, and then that's a no-brainer because they're super comfy mattresses. But we've run X-Beds in the past. We've run a couple different brands off of Amazon. Lost Horizon is one of my favorites. They're like $150 for a full-size mattress. What else did I use? Comotop, I think. I don't think you can find that on Amazon anymore, but I ran that one for a while. They're all pretty much the same as far as comfort level and thickness and all that sort of stuff. So if I were you going out to buy a mattress, I'd just go to Amazon and buy the Lost Horizon because they're fantastic. Now, if you have a bed bigger than this, like I said, this is a full size, but say you have one of the bigger rooftop tents that's like a king size bed. No one makes a king size mattress, but what iCamper does for their full size Sky Camp, because iCamper makes mattresses and we've had them, is you put a full size mattress and a twin together, and it gives you a king. That's actually how iCamper sells it for their Sky Camp, and it works really well. So if you have one of those, like the Sky Camp, like the 4x4 Colorado Alto Elite, tough stuff, whatever their big alpha is, there's quite a few king size bed tents, full size mattress and a twin, and you don't run them, vertically, whereas where someone's sleeping on the full mattress and someone's sleeping on the twin, you run them perpendicular. So you put the full size mattress going this way and the twin size mattress down here where your feet are, and then you lay across both of them, and that works really well. So that's the mattress. Thin bedding makes a difference. My pillows. This is a pillow from Climate. It compresses quite a bit. So once I lower the tent, this actually squishes down. So I'm able to leave this pillow in the tent, and I use this little inflatable just to put under my main mattress and give it a little bit more height, because I like a taller pillow. That's all personal preference, but that's why I keep it a little inflatable that I can inflate up, about halfway, 3/4 of the way, and just use that to supplement this. As you can see, the inflatable mattresses, once they are deflated, they actually kind of shrink up, and so it gives you some extra little space to be able to have a pillow sitting in that nook, or places for your lights to kind of sit beside the mattress. So that's another handy thing. When they're deflated, they shrink up and take up less space, in addition to being really thin. Now I've been showing this off in a lot of videos, and noticed that Intrepid finally has this for sale on their website. This was actually a prototype, but having a chair, and I think Intrepid's the only one that's making this at the moment, but having this type of chair up in your tent, oh my gosh, it just makes hanging out in here, working if you need to, watching TV, just chilling up here in a storm, makes it so much more comfortable to be able to have, this little thin chair to sit on and lean back on, have a place to put your back. This makes a huge difference. And I mean, it's super thin and just lives right there in my tent. The next major thing besides the mattress that I think you can do in your tent is to run power up here. Now, you don't have to have an auxiliary battery system in the back of your rigs like we do. You could do this directly to your starter battery. So you have a place to, keep your phones charged, keep your watch charged, keep your laptop charged, your iPad, all those sort of things. Charge your inflator while you're driving down the road. Charge your light. Is running power. And so what I've done is I just bought a little USB hub off of Amazon and spliced the power cord. It's a 12-volt USB hub that's supposed to plug into like a cigarette socket. And I just spliced that and extended the wires and ran it to, these are running to my auxiliary batteries, but you could easily run this to your starter battery, because charging a phone, charging a watch, none of that pulls very much power. And this just lives up here in the tent. I've always got my, my Apple Watch charger. I've always got my phone charger, USB-C cable up here, and that stuff just lives in the tent. And I don't have to worry about bringing a power station up here and it taking up space at my feet, which usually isn't an issue if I'm, if you're solo, but if you and your significant other are out, probably someone's griping about kicking the power station all night. So I don't deal, I never have to bring a power station up in my tent because I always have power up here. And it's really one of the best things that I've ever done. This tent has it. We've got the same USB hub in the topper of my wife's Jeep, and that just works excellent. So the USB hub, it's amazing to have. My tent actually has little pass-throughs here for a power cord to come out of. There's one on this side of the tent, there's one on the other, so you can put it on whatever side you want. But that's the great thing about the Intrepid, is it has these little pass-through ports. I have put this in all my tents in the past, and don't be afraid under your tent here just to drill a hole big enough for the cable. You can seal it up with like some RTV or put a grommet in it. I just kind of put a little rubber grommet in mine, but water's not going to seep up under here if you do just drill a little hole and have it exposed. That's not going to be a big deal, but that's how you get the power cable up into your tent. Now, there are a lot of rooftop tent companies that are just starting to build power into their tents, little USB hubs, 12-volt sockets, those sort of things. And if you have the option in your rooftop tent to get that, do it. That way you don't have to DIY it. It's already there, and you just run the cables to whatever battery you're going to run them to. All right, let's talk about other little things. I hear people complain all the time, Number one reason for a rooftop tent, I don't want to have to go down the ladder when I have to pee in the middle of the night. Well, guess what? I don't either. So, getting real with you. Gatorade bottle, pee bottle. This is good for one pee in the middle of the night. If you are a frequent peer, you gotta go more. You have to go down the ladder or get a bigger bottle. But you just go in here. And actually, if you are a female, there are female solutions to be able to do this too. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not a female. My wife is lucky. She doesn't usually have to pee in the middle of the night. So not something we have to deal with. But there are solutions for you to not have to get out of your tent to go to the bathroom. All right, a couple little things. If you have little eyelets to put stuff in places, and you don't want to we go to bed at night and you like to watch like some downloaded episodes on Netflix or whatever, a little string here just to be able to take my iPad and hang it over the string while I'm laying down and be able to watch TV. That's super simple and handy. Just tie a little string up here for that purpose. I keep just a little handful of these Clean Freak wipes up here, so that when I'm getting into my tent, if I need to just wipe off real quick, especially my feet, because I don't like my stinky feet in my tent. So I'll just grab one of these Clean Freak wipes out of my little pouch here and, wipe my feet down, wipe my pits, all that sort of stuff before going to bed. And then my wife came up with this one because she just, she loves a nice smelling tent. None of our tents ever get bad and mildewy and musty or anything, so that's never an issue. But she just likes, little vanilla scent in the tent, or whatever your favorite scent is. And so she gets these little air freshener things. They're designed to go on a vent holder in your vehicle, and that smells like, I think that's strawberry. I think that's like strawberry cream. But she gets a couple of these, and in her tent she'll put them in the in the side pockets, one on each side. I just keep one here and that one. And this actually does an amazing job of just putting a nice little, whatever your favorite scent is in your tent. You don't have to use these. This one came from, Bed Bath & Beyond? No, Bath & Body Works. You can get them at Walmart, all different kinds of just car air fresheners. But do that and just put them in your little pouches. And it makes your tent smell real nice. Now, the last thing in my setup that's specifically for the tent are these lights right here. I hate wearing a headlamp and don't like having to wear a headlamp up in there and then have to take it off. They have to remember to get it in the morning, and I probably forget, and then I could just leave my headlamp up there, but that doesn't do me any good if I roll into camp at 10, 11 o'clock at night. So I put these just little lights on the side, and they're connected to a Bluetooth controller, my little switch controller here. So once I'm up in the tents, I can turn them on, have my whole ladder area illuminated for getting up and down, and I can control the lights with my phone with the app for the light controller. And that's awesome, especially for us since we have pets. Sometimes they will have to go in the middle of the night, and I haven't figured out how to get a Frenchie to pee in a pee bottle. TMI, I know. But so I'll have to come down, and so super handy just to be able to turn the lights on, and boom, all around the tent here is illuminated, and that's been awesome. If I used to mount them, a lot of tents have T-tracks that you can just mount them to the tent, which is awesome. But I will swap tents for reviews and stuff, so none of my lights are mounted to my tent. They're mounted to my rack. Mounting to your tent doesn't work with all kinds of tents, typically just these wedge styles. So, but yeah, I've got the lights here just mounted to my rack. And you could do that whether you have a rack and tent like this, a rack like the Rhino rack on my wife's Wrangler. You could do it to there. You could mount it to this. This one you'd have to use the T-tracks to do here. But yeah, that works great. Well, there you go. That's everything that just lives in my tent, and the why and the how. And so hope this little rooftop tent tips and tricks was helpful to you. Hopefully you found some ideas to make your rooftop tent experience a little quicker, a little more accessible, faster to set up, easier to set up, all those sort of things, and kind of more homey in your tent. But if you have any questions, be sure and put them in the comments. I'll try and answer as best I can. And if you would like the video, subscribe to the channel, give us that YouTube love, check out the Patreon link in the description. Actually doing the QR code thing here. So if you're watching this on a TV, take your phone, scan the QR code, and it'll take you to the Patreon site. So anyway, if you like what we're doing and you want to consider supporting the channel, check out the Patreon link. And for all of our merchandise, shirts, hats, patches, stickers, all the things, go to shopoverlandapparel.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.